Exam 2. Which European mountain range forms the political border between Spain and France? Yes, Pyrenees. Which natural feature marks the divide between European Russia and Asian Russia? Ural Mountains. Which country in Europe is most likely to experience drought? Portugal. What is the first element that helps us to understand geographies of climate, vegetation, and agriculture in the Russian domain? The northern latitudinal position of the Russian domain. Which country emits the most pollutants each year? Germany. Ew! Which country emits the pollution? The Caucasus Mountains are located between which two bodies of water? Black Sea and Caspian Sea. Which country in Europe is primarily located on the European lowland? Netherlands. Why is development in Siberia limited? Unstable ground resulting from permafrost makes it extremely difficult to place permanent structures on the land surface. In which European country would you find Zodes? Zodes are a long, narrow, deep inlet of the sea between high cliffs. Zodes are found in Norway. What does the term Russification mean? A policy of resettling Russians into non-Russian areas of the Soviet Union. Which country in Europe has the largest population in the region? Germany. Which is the primary reason why European Russia has larger population than Asian Russia? European Russia is better suited for agriculture. Which event has been an important cause of the surge of immigration to European countries such as Germany since the beginning of the 1990s? The collapse of Soviet Union. What are microrayons? Large housing projects built in the 1970s and 1980s in Russia. Why have many European countries encouraged immigration of foreign populations into their borders in recent years? They are experiencing low or negative growth and needed immigrants to fill gaps in their labor force. The Trans-Siberian Railroad ends at the port city of Vladivostok. Immigrant refugees seeking political amnesty come from all of these countries except Israel. Which Russian city was known as Leningrad during the Soviet era? St. Petersburg. Okay. Which part of Europe is the region's unquestionable focus of intensive agriculture, large cities, and major industrial activities? The European lowland. Which Russian port provides Russia with the most rapid access to the Pacific Ocean? Vladivostok. Germany's population includes a large number of guest workers from which country of Southwest Asia and North Africa? Turkey. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union, what has become of the policy of Russification within the former Soviet republics? The answer is Russification has been reversed, where greater numbers of Russians are encouraged to leave these reasons. Where do most immigrants to France come from? France's former colonies in Africa. What was the purpose of Russification, the Soviet policy of resettling Russians into non-Russian areas of the former USSR? To increase Russian dominance in outlying areas of the former USSR. Probably the most striking characteristic of Europe's demography is the lack of natural growth. Good. What was the policy of the former Soviet Union regarding religion within its borders? The USSR discouraged all religion and even prosecuted religious practice. Stupid. What has been an important source of conflict in Northern Ireland? The Protestant minority feel that the Catholic majority has discriminated against them. Which language group dominates the Russian domain? Slavic. Okay. Where in Europe has conflict between Catholics and Protestants been a problem? Northern Ireland. Who were the Cossacks of the Russian domain? Slavic-speaking, semi-nomadic Christians. Which country in Europe has the region's largest numbers of Muslims? France has the largest number of Muslims. Which of the following statements best reflects religion in the post-Soviet era? There has been a religious revival. So that's the statement that best reflects religion in the post-Soviet era. In which part of Europe is Protestantism the dominant religion? All of the answers choices are correct. In which Russian region has Islamic fundamentalism increased its passions? Caucasus region. How many world wars were fought in Europe? 2. The conquest of Siberia was primarily carried out by Cossacks. So the conquest of Siberia was primarily carried out by Cossacks. What do the letters in NATO stand for? North Atlantic Treaty Organization. North Atlantic Treaty Organization. What has become of democracy in Russia in the post-Soviet era? There was a general flowering of democracy, followed by a reduction of civil liberties since 2002. Croatia, Serbia, and Slovenia were part of the former Yugoslavia. So Croatia, Serbia, and Slovenia were part of the former Yugoslavia. Perfect. Which was the Russian policy enacted during the 1980s for greater openness? Glasnost. From 1945 until 1990, Europe was divided into two geopolitical and economic blocs, East and West, separated by the infamous Iron Curtain. Good. Who were the Bolsheviks? A faction of Russian communism representing interests of industrial workers who established the former Soviet Union, USSR. What was the metaphorical name given to the policy of separation that divided Europe into two separate geopolitical and economic blocs after World War II? Again, it's Iron Curtain. What is perestroika? Restructuring of the planned centralized economy, an early move towards a freer market. So that's what perestroika means. So it's a restructuring of the planned centralized economy, an early move towards a freer market. What was the Cold War? An ideological struggle between the USA and the former Soviet Union that lasted from 1946 to 1991 and included Soviet occupation of several European countries. That's Cold War. So now you have only 3 more questions. Are you excited? Good. One of Putin's early political moves was to crack down on dissidents in the Russian Republic of Chechnya. Good. What is the currency of the European Union? Euro. Russia is the world's largest gas exporter and has 26% of the world's natural gas reserves. Good.